Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, The Mule. I'm very excited to see this. Couldn't wait for it to come out at home so I could watch it. Clint Eastwood movie, okay, say no more, right? Didn't realize this when I started scrolling through it. Bradley Cooper is in this movie. I had no idea. That's, I try and stay away from trailers and things like that. And I read the IMDb synopsis so I can get some sense of it. I know it has to do with drugs. He's an older gentleman. They say in IMDb he's 90 years old, Korean War vet, horticulturalist, got a green thumb. And he turns in a drug mail for a Mexican cartel. That's what it says. I don't quite understand that. And then if you check in IMDb, there's that little piece, and then there's this huge long one which I don't want to read because it's basically telling you the movie, and you're going to ruin it. But anyway, IMDb has it at a 7.2. 23,866 people reviewed it, made it a 7.2. So I am very excited. An hour and 56 minutes. So I'll start watching it here a little bit, and then I'll tell you what that really means. How he turned in a drug mail to mail, M-A-I-L, like a letter. So I don't know what that means, but I'll check it out and see what's going on, and I'll give you a better idea what the synopsis is once I figure it out, and I'll tell you ultimately what I think of it. So stick around. I'll be back. Hey everybody, time for a quick check-in. We're watching The Mule, and I promised you I'd get back to you after I understood what was going on, and it is what I kind of thought. We're at the 51-minute, 11-second mark, and I could have stopped it at any point. He starts running drugs for the Mexican cartel. That's what I thought he did. So he was a horticulturalist, and a very award-winning one, but an absentee father and husband to his wife and daughter. And that's all open in the beginning, so I'm not spoiling anything. And then his granddaughter, he wants to help his granddaughter host his wedding. Of course, the family's not too happy, or not pay for the wedding. And he lost his business. They foreclosed on that, but then he meets a guy who says, hey, seems like you drive to a lot of different places, and he mentions that he's never gotten a ticket or anything like that. So the guy says, okay, call this number if you're ever interested in driving for somebody. And he does, and drives, does a run for them and drops it off and gets paid big money. Now he's continuously doing it. He did his one thing where he helped out his granddaughter, but he continues to do these runs and collect all this money. As he continues, obviously, things get more intense. For example, he's getting more and more bags put in his car, which results in a lot more money, but still, the risk is greater because there's a lot involved. And now he's at the point where they want him to do this big run, and they put a handler in with him and another guy, not in the car, but following him, so that they can see what he does and how he handles it. The handler isn't too happy with him, so this isn't, we're going to see where this goes from this point going forward, but there's a whole hour left. The other piece of it is Michael Pena is in this, didn't realize that, and Bradley Cooper. They are DEA agents who are looking into the Mexican cartel and trying to see, trying to bust them essentially. So I'm assuming that they're going to come into the picture at some point with Clint Eastwood as he's running these drugs. Andy Garcia is in it, Lawrence Fishburne, and Clifton Collins Jr. Just a couple of the names that have popped up on the screen, or the people I saw that I thought I'd mention, that they're all in it. So there's a lot of good actors and actresses in it, and so far it's interesting, but they're building. So we'll see where it builds. At the first part, there's not much more to tell besides exactly what the plot should be. But you can, he's also buying things and spending his money, and in most movies when people get into running drugs or doing anything for money that they're not supposed to, and they start, buying different things, and that kind of sends some red flags to the police. So that hasn't happened, but you can see it happening. He traded in his own truck, got a new one, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's where we are. So he's, running mail, but no, he's being a mule, which makes sense. I just didn't understand the mail piece on IMDb, but that's where we are. So far, really good. Love Clint Eastwood. Doesn't matter how old he is, he's still fantastic. And I'll get back into it, and if anything interesting happens, I'll step back in and let you know how it's going. If not, I'll see you at the end and talk to you over the credits and tell you what I really think. Stick around. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of the Mule, and interesting because I watched this movie and totally forgot about a small key element of this movie, but I'm watching it, and as I kind of was talking about in my check-in, it's very predictable. I mean, you can probably guess what's going to happen every moment along the way. Then I realized that it's based on a true story, and so quick Google search will show you that. But they don't say that in the opening. At least I didn't see it when they opened it. And they didn't do anything at the end. That's why I was waiting for, like, okay, they're going to show pictures of the real guy, anything, you know, relating to any of this. No, the movie just ends. So if I were to just watch this movie without knowing it was ever based on a true story, I mean, I love the acting. I love everybody that was in it. But, I mean, it's the same kind of movie we've seen many, many times. But then when you put in that element that I said was missing, that it's based on a true story, it's a lot more interesting. Because this really did happen, although it's very predictable, it really did happen and made me enjoy it a lot more. In fact, on my Google search, they actually show some footage, you know, of the real grandfather Tata or something like that. I think that was his name. You know, and that, I don't know why. Maybe it's I probably didn't sign off or whatever it is. For some reason, there's no real connection to the true story in this movie. I mean, from what I read, a lot of it is very similar. The truck that he ends up buying and using is part of what the real person actually did. So that makes it a little bit more interesting. I always like in these kinds of things a little bit extra. You know, or at least not. I shouldn't say that. You know, yeah, I do. I like to see what happens after. They didn't have that. You know, connection to the real person. They didn't have that. So it fell a little short in my mind. If you don't know, and I'm going to repeat myself, if you don't know this is based on a true story, besides the acting, I don't think it was phenomenal. It was a really good movie, but not phenomenal when you do that. Now, when you put in place that it was based somewhat on a true story, it's a little bit better. It brings up work-home life balance, I think, to a very, very extreme measure. I think that is in here. And how, you know, as I said before, he failed as a father and as a husband because he put too much time into his work. You know, and maybe in some point he tries to rectify that somehow. I said how he did it for his granddaughter and things like that, and how that all plays into here. Very interesting, again, because it's actually somewhat true. I don't know if that part's true, but you know, other than that, I love Clint Eastwood. I love the character. I love how, you know, he was on one side. You know, they say he was in the Korean War. I think the actual guy was in World War II. But how he's tough as nails, not afraid of anybody, but yet he's also very personable and can talk to people, and, you know, wins their trust over rather quickly when he's dealing with the cartel. You know, how's your nephew? That kind of thing. Some other guy threatens him. He's like, look, I've been to war. You don't scare me. You know, so I loved, and it's all believable because Clint Eastwood brings that to the screen. So I love that part of it. You know, and Bradley Cooper and Michael Pena, a good role. I don't think they could have used them a little bit more. I mean their acting skills, not used their characters. I mean, they're in it as much as they need to be, but I would have liked to see a little bit more from them. Nothing that they did wrong. I thought they did a good job, but they could have wrote their parts a little bit bigger. I don't know. You know, they're in there. Let's use them. So same thing with Lawrence Fishburne. He's in it. You know. I mean, they really left the light on Clint Eastwood as a Mule, and that's fine. But you know, overall, good movie. Now that I know it was based on a true story. So, anything else I need to tell you about it? I don't think so. I definitely think it's worth watching, just for Clint Eastwood on his own, and you know, check out the story. Now that you know it's true, it's even more interesting, I think. So, all right, that's enough from me. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Give me some comments on the movie. See if we agree, disagree. And subscribe to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.